Aerial shot of the city, once a thriving colony, now a war-torn wasteland. Fires smolder in the distance, skyscrapers crumbling like abandoned relics. The streets are lifeless, except for the flickering shadows of something moving, watching, waiting. They called it Elysium, humanity's crown jewel, the city of the future. Now it's nothing but a tomb. The camera pans through the ruins, broken barricades, abandoned vehicles, bodies left where they fell. A faint mechanical hum lingers in the air, as automated defenses struggle to hold back the inevitable. Cut to a bunker, cramped, dimly lit. The last survivors, haggard and desperate, gather around a dying radio. The static-filled transmissions, their only hope. Fortress Wall 6 is gone. North District it's overrun. Silence. The survivors exchange glances. They already know the walls are falling, and the wraiths are coming. Inside a makeshift command center, Elias Voss stares at a battered city map, the blinking red dots marking every lost sector. His hands tremble as he grips the edge of the table. Urgent, Captain, we need to move. The wraiths will break through the south perimeter within hours. Elias doesn't respond immediately. His gaze lingers on an old photograph. His squad smiling before the war. They're all dead now. All because of him. Elias, low, hollow. How many left? Lieutenant Rio. 200. Maybe less. If we leave now, Elias. If we leave now, we leave them behind. His voice is bitter. He already knows how this ends. Some get to live, some don't. And he has to choose. Outside, the streets are empty but not silent. The wraiths move unseen, their forms flickering between reality and something else entirely. A soldier on the perimeter scans the ruins with night vision. At first there's nothing, then movement. A shifting silhouette. It watches. It learns. Soldier whispering into comms, terrified. I think it's looking at me. A sudden blur, an inhuman screech, then silence. The comms cut to static. The soldier is gone. Inside the bunker, Elias and Rio exchange a look. They don't need to ask. They already know. Flashback. Elysium at its peak. Bright shining towers, scientists celebrating as terraforming begins. Laughter, music, prosperity. Elysium is humanity's future. A self-sustaining colony, free from war, free from the recording cuts out. The scene shifts months later. Eerie silence. The city is different. The air shimmers unnaturally. People vanish without a trace. The wraiths arrive. Cut back to the present. The city is dead. The dream is over. And Elias knows they were never supposed to leave. The radio crackles. A voice faint, distorted but unmistakable. Final departure in 48 hours. This is it. If you're out there, get to the launch site. No second chances. The survivors stir. Hope. Real, tangible hope. But the launch site is miles away, through wraith-infested streets. How are we supposed to make it? We don't have enough weapons. Elias, grim, determined. Then we don't fight. We run. The survivors gather supplies, but it's not enough. Arguments break out. The rich, the powerful, they hoard what they can, securing their own escape. The weak, they're left behind. Please, we just need a way to. A well-dressed man pushes past, ignoring them. The divide is clear. Only the strong will make it. Elias watches. His jaw tightens. This isn't survival. This is slaughter. Outside, the walls shake. The wraiths are coming. Elias grips his rifle. Looks at the survivors. They're scared. So is he. Elias, no more waiting. No more hoping. We move now. No guarantees. No backup. Just one desperate sprint through a dying city. And so they run. The walls were supposed to hold. They were designed to withstand nuclear blasts, engineered with the best materials humanity could create. But against the wraiths, none of it mattered. They adapted. They always adapted. The eastern barricade, once a towering steel fortress, shudders as something shifts inside. The metal bends, groans. A low hum fills the air, rising in pitch, vibrating through the bones of the terrified defenders. Panicked, into comms. They're inside. The walls they're phasing through. A shriek echoes through the ruin. Something dark moves in the mist, flickering in and out of sight. A soldier fires wildly. The bullets hit nothing. Lieutenant Rio. Urgent. To Elias. Captain, the perimeter's breached. We have minutes. Maybe less. Elias clenches his jaw, gripping his rifle tighter. He already knew. The last sanctuary of humanity wasn't a refuge anymore. It was a coffin. The streets are filled with chaos. People trample over each other in a blind panic. Fires rage unchecked. Black smoke billowing into the sky like the breath of a dying world. Screaming, shoving past others. Get out of my way. A mother clutches her child, eyes wide with terror as looters ransack what's left of a supply depot. The last remnants of order crumble. Elias and Rio push through the crowd, weapons raised, trying to control the madness. Elias' booming voice. Everyone listen to me. We have one chance to get out of this alive. Few stop. Even fewer listen. Fear has turned them into animals. Lieutenant Rio. They won't make it, sir. A guttural screech cuts through the chaos. The wraiths have entered the streets. Shadows flicker. The slaughter begins. The only path out is through the ruins. Collapsed highways, abandoned districts, and streets where the wraiths prowl like wolves hunting wounded prey. Elias leads a small group of survivors moving fast, staying low. Every step is a repenting, terrified. Are we even going the right way? Elias gritted teeth. Doesn't matter. We stop. We die. A distant explosion shakes the ground. A nearby building groans, then collapses in a thunderous roar. The dust settles, revealing a twisted alien form standing atop the wreckage. Lieutenant Rio. They're getting smarter. No time to think. No time to hesitate. Elias motions forward. Elias urgent, firm. Move. Now. The group pushes on, knowing that the city behind them is already lost. They reach the last checkpoint, the final bridge out of the city, but something's wrong. The gate is sealed. Beyond it, vehicles armored, well-stocked roar away into the wasteland, leaving everyone else behind. Survivor 2, furious, pounding on the gate. They left us. Elias watches the convoy disappear, jaw clenched. He should have seen this coming. The rich always saved themselves first. Survivor 3. Desperate. There has to be another way. The ground trembles. The wraiths are coming. Elias makes a decision. Elias, we don't need the survivors move fast. But some are struggling. The injured, the weak, they can't keep up. Survivor 4 pleading, limping. I can't go any faster. Elias hesitates. Every second counts. If they slow down, they all die. Lieutenant Rio. Captain, we have to. A scream. A wraith lunges from the shadows, dragging a man into the darkness. Panic surges through the group. Some start to run, abandoning the slower ones. Survivor 5. No, don't leave us. Elias looks at them, at their terror, at their hope, and he makes his choice. Elias, we stay together. No one gets left behind. It's suicide. But he won't be like the elites. He won't abandon his people. The wraiths close in. The survivors are trapped in the ruins. Nowhere left to run. Survivor 6 panicked. We're dead. We're all dead. Elias roaring. Not yet. Not today. He raises his weapon. Others do the same. A last stand. Not for glory. Not for victory. But for each other. The first wraith lunges. The battle begins. The city burns behind them. The bodies of the fallen litter the streets. But some made it. Elias leads what's left of his group forward. The road ahead is dark, filled with shadows and nightmare. Lieutenant Rio. Low, breathing heavy. We actually made it. Elias grim. Looking ahead. Not yet. They keep moving, because the fight isn't over. And the wraiths will come again. The city was dead. Not the kind of dead where the streets were merely empty, where echoes of life still lingered. No, this was something worse, something final. Skyscrapers had folded like paper, their steel skeletons jutting into the sky like the ribs of a decayed beast. Bridges hung by threads, concrete split and sagging. Roads gaped open like mouths waiting to swallow the careless. Elias scanned the ruins, gripping his rifle tighter. Every step forward was a gamble. The terrain was unstable, but more than that, it was haunted. Not by ghosts, but by something far worse. Elias murmuring, one wrong move and this place buries us alive. Behind him, His ragtag group of survivors tread cautiously. Mira, the ex-military strategist, mapped their path with a sharp, calculating gaze. Jace, the smuggler, moved with ease, too much ease for someone claiming to be afraid. And young Reese, barely 13, clutched a rusted knife, her knuckles white. Mira grimly, "We need to move faster." Wraiths could be watching. Jace, smirking. Or waiting. They don't just charge in blind anymore. A groan of metal echoed from above. The remains of a collapsed high-rise shifted, sending debris tumbling into the street. The entire group froze. Was it the wind, or was something watching? They had no time to find out. They moved fast. The fog rolled in thick, swallowing the streets whole. It wasn't natural. The wraiths were using it to their advantage. Elias whispering, "Stay close. No one falls behind." The first scream cut through the silence like a blade. A man, one of the scavengers they'd picked up, was gone before anyone could react. No sound of struggle, no warning, just gone. Reese whispering, terrified, "What was that?" Then chaos. The wraiths struck like lightning, their shadowy forms slithering through the mist. They didn't charge head-on anymore. They were calculating, isolating stragglers, forcing the group toward crumbling alleyways and collapsed streets. Elias fired blindly into the mist. The gunfire echoed, but it felt useless. These things were learning, adapting. They weren't just monsters, they were tacticians. Mira yelling, "They're funneling us. Move!" The group sprinted, dodging rubble and leaping over broken pavement. Behind them, bodies hit the ground. The wraiths didn't waste time, they never did. But just as they broke free of the fog, salvation turned into something worse. A barricade of humans stood in their path, rifles raised. At first, Elias thought they were another group of survivors, but then he saw the insignia, black armbands marked with a crude X. Mercs. Their leader, a tall man with sunken eyes and a cold smile, stepped forward. Merc leader, calmly, "You look lost. How about we offer you a trade?" Jace muttering, "I hate Elias kept his hands raised, subtly shifting his stance. These weren't the negotiating type. Elias steadily, "We don't have much." Merc leader grinning, "Oh, but you do. Weapons, food, and..." His gaze settled on Reese. Fresh blood. Mira tensed. Jace's hand twitched toward his belt. This was about to turn ugly. Then the wraith screamed from the mist behind them. Merc leader, snarling, "Kill the men, take the rest." Gunfire erupted. Elias tackled Mira. As bullets whizzed past, Jace vanished into the chaos, already working his own angle. The survivors fought back, but they were outgunned. The mercs had planned for desperate travelers, not an attack from both sides. The wraiths tore through the edges of their formation, dragging bodies into the darkness. Reese shouting, "Elias, help!" Elias turned just in time to see a merc yanking her away. He didn't think, he moved. One shot, then another. The merc crumpled. Jace reappeared, smirking as he tossed a stolen rifle to Elias. Jace, grinning, "Figured you'd need that." The group rallied, pushing forward, the mercenaries too occupied with their own survival to stop them. But the cost had been high, supplies were lost, and some of their people weren't getting up. The wounded groaned as Elias surveyed the damage. 3 were too injured to continue. They wouldn't survive the next encounter. Mira knelt beside one of the fallen, a soldier, her friend. Mira quietly, "We can't carry them." The words were daggers. Reese, softly, "We can't just leave them." Elias's hands clenched into fists. He knew the truth. The wraiths would be back, and injured travelers slowed them down. The wounded man grasped his arm, his grip weak but insistent. Wounded survivor, rasping, "Go." We knew the risks. The silence was unbearable, but Elias forced himself to nod. They left. The screams followed minutes later. No one looked back. They walked in silence. Reese's face was unreadable. Jace kept his distance. Mira's eyes were red, but she held herself together. Then Jace spoke. "Jace," casual tone, "we're close to an old tunnel system. Could be our best shot." Mira's expression darkened. Mira lowly, "We trusting him now?" Elias didn't answer immediately. Jace had saved him, but he'd also disappeared during the fight, probably looting bodies. Elias firmly, "We don't have a choice." Reese looked up, determination in her young eyes. Reese, softly, "I can help. I'm not weak. For the first time in hours, Elias managed a small smile. Elias gently, I know. Mira hesitated. Then finally she spoke. Mira grimly, they're evolving. Elias frowned. Elias, what do you mean? Mira's hands trembled as she reached into her pack and pulled out something. A blood-stained data pad. Mira quietly, I found this on a dead researcher weeks ago. The wraiths aren't just reacting to us, they're predicting us. They set up ambushes, they use fear to separate group, and they never attack the same way twice. Elias felt ice creep down his spine. Elias whispering, they're not just hunting us, they're studying us. The road ahead was darker than ever, but turning back wasn't an option. They took the first step into the abyss, and the wraiths were waiting. The survivors' weary legs pushed them toward the evacuation site. Through the smoke and chaos, they see the flickering lights of the ship just ahead, a promise of safety. But as they near the entrance, the ground trembles beneath them, and the sky overhead is filled with an eerie, unnatural hum. Elias looks back, his heart racing. We're not going to make it, he mutters under his breath. The wraiths are everywhere. Their dark figures dart between the shattered buildings like predators closing in on their prey. Their black shifting forms are impossible to fully comprehend, an abomination that defies logic and nature. They've been hunting humanity for days, their relentless pursuit a nightmare that never ends. Desperation claws at Elias's throat, but he knows this is their final stretch. They have to get to the ship. They have to. Come on, hurry, Mira shouts, her voice cracking as she leads the group forward, pushing herself harder than ever. But with every step they take, more wraiths appear. The survivors are outnumbered. The wraiths are faster, deadlier, and their numbers are growing by the second. Elias hears the shrill screech of the wraiths closing in. He turns to Mira, their eyes meeting for a brief moment. This could be it, but they push forward, adrenaline coursing through their veins. The evacuation site is so close. A crackling sound breaks the air as the wraiths flood the ground around them. The survivors are surrounded. There is no way out. Mira's breath hitches as the realization strikes her. They're not just chasing us, she says, the horror in her voice unmistakable. They're hurting us. The survivors are trapped in a narrowing space. Every exit, every possible escape route is blocked, except one, a narrow passage leading straight toward the reactor district. But it's a dangerous path. The reactors are unstable, volatile. They're a ticking time bomb. Elias stands at the edge of the opening, staring into the abyss. We don't have a choice. His voice is steady, but there's a look in his eyes, a mix of dread and determination. The wraiths have them cornered, and the only way to survive is through the reactor district. But every step they take will bring them closer to certain death. The reactors could ignite at any moment. The wraiths know this, and they're ready to push them into the fight.
There's no going back, Elias whispers to himself. The survivors are running out of time and running out of hope. The wraiths are close now, closer than they've ever been. There's no way out, except into the heart of the storm. Elias takes a deep breath, the weight of the situation settling over him like a thick, suffocating fog. They're not just running anymore, they're running out of time. His eyes lock on the reactor ahead. It's the only way to buy them any chance of survival. We can't just keep running, Elias says, his voice tight. We need a distraction, a big one. Mira glances at him, understanding dawning. You're thinking about the reactors? Elias nods, his face grim. I'll trigger an overload. I can do it manually. Mira's face pales. No, you'll never make it out in time. It's too dangerous. There's no other option. Someone has to stay behind to trigger the reactor. I've been ready for this. His words are final, his decision made. It should be me. Mira shakes her head. You're not doing this, Elias. I'm the one who can buy you time, he says softly. I will buy you time. His fingers brush against the cold steel of the reactor controls. Every muscle in his body screams for him to turn away, but he knows this is the only way. It's the only way to make sure the others have a shot. I'm doing this, he says again, his voice unwavering. Mira tries to reach for him, but he's already moving, the countdown to sacrifice ticking in his ears. The reactor chamber is close, and with every step, his heart pounds louder. Mira's mind races as she stumbles through the data files. It's all there. Their strengths, their weaknesses, the wraiths, a terrifying enigma. But she finds the key hidden within the alien code. They're drawn to energy, she mutters to herself. High energy technology. Her fingers freeze over the terminal. The evacuation ship is packed with power. All the fuel it needs to escape the planet, to make it out of this nightmare. But it's also the beacon the wraiths are waiting for. The moment they launch, the creatures will descend on them like a swarm. Elias and the others don't know yet, but Mira's discovery could be their only hope. I have to warn them, she says aloud, the words feeling hollow as they hang in the air. But the wraiths are already closing in. The ship will never take off unless she does something drastic. Mira feels the weight of it. The ship is their only hope. But her discovery means it could be the wraith's target. The entire plan is on the verge of collapse. The truth hits her. They're trapped by their own technology, but there might still be a way to save them all. Elias is already preparing to leave. The countdown is ticking in his mind, seconds slipping away, and yet the urgency of the situation presses down on him like a vice. He turns to Mira, his expression resolute. I'm the one who stays behind. Mira grabs his arm. No, Elias, you don't have to do this. But he shakes his head, his grip firm. It was always supposed to be me. I'm the one who makes the sacrifice. Mira's voice cracks. But we don't have to lose anyone. We don't. We do. This is the only way. Mira, it has to be me. His eyes search hers, pleading. But there is no other choice. His path is set. He will save them. But Mira won't back down. No, if someone is going to stay behind, it'll be me. The choice hangs between them like a fragile thread. The weight of the decision crushes them both. In that moment, something in Mira shifts. She knows what she has to do, but that doesn't make it easier. Mira takes a deep breath, the hum of the reactor steady in her ears. The wraiths are closing in, their monstrous forms creeping into the shadow. She knows the only way to save the rest is to make sure the ship can escape, by giving it every chance it can get. I'll do it, she whispers to herself, her hand brushing over the reactor's controls. There's no time left for second. The ship must survive, and she is the only one left to ensure it. Mira looks back, her eyes scanning the faces of the survivors, all ready to leave, but one will never leave this world. She taps the final button, flooding the reactor with a surge of power. The explosion will be catastrophic. It will draw every wraith away from the ship, giving it the opening it needs to escape. A voice echoes in her mind, Elias, telling her it should have been him. But Mira knows she has made the right choice. The power is flowing. The countdown is nearly complete. The wraiths are swarming, but the energy surge will redirect them. The ship will launch, and they will be free. As she steps away from the reactor, the hum of the power surge grows louder, drowning out everything. Her heart races as the energy ripples outward, and the wraiths begin to retreat. This is it. This is the moment she knows will save humanity. The ship lifts off, its engines roaring as the survivors look back. Elias stares at the planet below, a giant ball of fire now erupting in the distance. Mira's sacrifice is the only reason they've made it this far. His chest tightens as the final moments play out in his mind. Mira's final words echo, "You'll carry on, for all of us." The sky is alive with fire. A once thriving world is reduced to a glowing ember, the product of human ingenuity and sacrifice. Elias watches, his eyes blank, not knowing whether to feel victorious or hollow. The wraiths are gone, driven away by the reactor's explosion, but the cost of that victory is etched deep in his soul. As the ship continues its ascent, Elias grips the railing, unable to tear his gaze away from the destruction below. Mira's gone, and yet the survivors continue their journey. Humanity has escaped, at least for now, but Elias knows it isn't over. There will be other battles, other horrors lurking in the deep, and they will fight, for they are humanity, and humanity never gives up. The escape ship groans under the strain of its failing systems as the survivors rush toward its entrance. The hum of the reactor's countdown fills the air, its eerie tone mingling with the distant, guttural roars of the wraiths, drawing ever closer. The air is thick with smoke and the acrid scent of burning debris. The once thriving city now a graveyard of twisted metal and shattered glass. Elias, chest heaving, glances over his shoulder, heart pounding in his ears. "Move," Mira shouts, her voice sharp with urgency as she pulls him toward the hatch. Her face is streaked with dirt and sweat, but her eyes burn with determination. "We don't have time." The countdown echoes through his mind, ticking away the seconds of their lives. The wraiths are nearly here, faster than any creature he's ever seen. Their shadows stretch long across the ruins as they surge forward, relentless, implacable. He doesn't have to look back to know they're closing in. Elias grips Mira's hand, a brief, silent promise exchanged between them. "We make it," he says, though the words feel hollow. Even to the air around them vibrates with the wraith's presence as the survivors tumble through the hatch, barely making it before the ship's doors slam shut. As the last of them enters, the countdown reaches 0. A deafening roar fills the air. The ship's engines roar to life, lifting them into the sky. But the wraiths are not far behind. The countdown to their own destruction has begun. The sky explodes behind them. A blinding wall of light rips through the atmosphere as the reactor detonates, the shockwave rippling across the horizon. The survivors brace themselves, feeling the immense force as it pushes against their ship. Elias stares out the window, his eyes burning with the reflection of the firestorm, the last gift humanity can offer before fleeing their doomed world. The wraiths stop in their tracks, their dark forms frozen in the wake of the cataclysmic blast. They turn, drawn to the explosion, a primal instinct to feast on the energy surge. The creatures are gone, distracted, leaving the survivors to escape unscathed for now. But as the ship rockets toward the void of space, Elias feels a chill settle in his bones. They've escaped, yes, but at what cost? Thousands of lives have been lost, and even now the fires rage behind them. Humanity may have survived the wraith's onslaught, but this victory is no triumph. Elias stands at the window, his gaze locked on the planet below. The city that had been their home, their last refuge, is now nothing but a burning cinder. The ground is scorched, the seas boiling, the skies alight with the remnants of destruction. The reactor's explosion still rages, a fiery testament to the sacrifice they made. "We did what we had to do," Mira says softly from behind him, her voice filled with a quiet, tragic understanding. But Elias doesn't respond. The survivors sit in the background, their faces empty, hollow. No one speaks, no one dares. Their victory feels too much like a defeat. They've escaped, but they left behind family, friends, allies, countless souls who never had a chance. Elias feels the weight of their survival pressing down on him. He should feel relief, but instead, there's only guilt. 1,000 voices cry out in his mind. Lost forever to the wraiths. Was this survival worth it? And what now? The ship continues its journey into the unknown, leaving the burning city far behind. Silence fills the cabin. The hum of the ship's engines is the only sound as the survivors sit, their eyes dull, their bodies exhausted. No one speaks, no one celebrates. The relief they should feel is missing, replaced instead by the heavy weight of loss. Their homes, their lives, their families gone in an instant. They've survived, but what's left? Elias's hand rests in his lap, clenched into a fist. He doesn't look at the others. Mira sits beside him, her eyes staring out into the empty blackness of space. She's been quiet for hours. No words can fill the chasm of grief between them. The stars outside seem cold, distant, and far too endless. There is no comfort in the vastness of space. There is only silence. And for the first time, Elias wonders if that silence will ever be broken. Space stretches out before them, vast, unyielding, a deep black void, where their past is no longer a thing of this world. The survivors have fled, but where will they go? A colony on a distant planet, an empty space station, or perhaps just more unknown terror waiting in the darkness. Where do we go from here? Elias asks, his voice hoarse from the tension, the uncertainty. His question hangs in the air, unanswered. Mira looks at him, her expression unreadable. We make it. We have to. But Elias isn't so sure. They left behind a planet teeming with life, now reduced to a ruin. And as the days stretch on, the realization settles in. They are alone, not just in space, but in a future where nothing is certain. The horrors of the wraiths might be behind them, but new dangers could lie ahead. As they drift further into the cold depths of space, Elias finds no solace in the stars. He knows that the real challenge has just begun. The unknown is their new enemy,
And this time, humanity may not be enough to survive it. The survivors gather around the flickering console in the ship's dimly lit cockpit. A message had been recovered from Mira's final moments, her voice weak but filled with urgent. Elias listens, heart clenched, as the words echo through the silent room. They weren't hunting us. Mira's voice crackles through the static. They were trying to stop us from leaving. A wave of confusion hits like a tidal wave. Elias stands frozen, his hand gripping the edge of the console. What does that mean? He murmurs, looking to the others for answers, but none of them have any. Mira had died in the chaos of the reactor explosion, her sacrifice instrumental in their escape. Yet these final words, this warning, feel like a puzzle with missing pieces. Were the Wraiths truly just mindless predators, or was there something deeper, more sinister at play? The thought gnaws at Elias, a creeping sense of dread settling in his stomach. What if they've made a terrible mistake? What if the Wraiths were never the real enemy? The ship hums softly as it cuts through the vast emptiness of space, the survivors still grappling with Mira's cryptic warning. Elias stands at the sensor panel, eyes narrowed as the latest scans filter through. The screen flickers, then flashes red. Wait, what's that? Elias's voice tightens with apprehension. The data is not what they expected. It's not a fleet. It's not a planet. What's appearing on the screen is something far more ancient. A massive energy signature pulses on the display, rotating slowly, almost as though it's alive. An anomaly, so vast and so foreign, that even the ship's sensors can barely comprehend it. Could it be? Mira's voice haunts Elias's mind. They had left the Wraiths behind, but had they really escaped? Something ancient is out there, watching, something that's been asleep until now. The ship's engines hum, louder as they move closer. The truth hits like a cold slap to the face. The Wraiths weren't predators, they were protectors, guardians of an ancient boundary, an unspoken law that no one human or alien was meant to cross. Elias stands in stunned silence, the weight of this revelation crashing down on him. The Wraiths weren't hunting humanity, they were trying to prevent them from breaking through something far worse. Something that has now been unleashed. The survivors are no longer escaping. They are trespassing, and whatever waits beyond the boundary will soon know they've crossed it. Elias stares out into the abyss, his heart hammering in his chest. The ship is still gliding, but everything has changed. In the vastness of space, something stirs, a presence that thrums with ancient power. He can feel it. The air in the cabin is thick, charged with an energy that makes his skin prickle. A shadow in the void shifts, something immense, something alive. His mind races, but no words come. He knows one thing, whatever this is, it's been waiting for them, and now, it knows they're coming. Space has just become their prison.